Hey everybody, so we've been in Ohio, and my favorite thing about Ohio was going to the National Air Force Museum. If you're an aviation buff, you gotta go to that.
Mm-hmm. And my favorite thing that we visited in Ohio was Fort Ancient.
I enjoyed that a lot too. That was very interesting. So as always, we're just traveling, seeing very interesting things, learning, which is always fun to do, feed your brain, and meeting great people along the way.
Absolutely.
So, thanks for watching.
See ya.
Bye.
Hi, I'm Sandy.
And I'm Ed.
And this is General, our totally awesome water dog.
We used to live on the Outer Banks in North Carolina, but one day we found both of ourselves unemployed.
So we decided to take a chance. We sold everything, bought a trailer, and left to explore America. We're learning as we go along, but we still make mistakes.
But we get a lot of things right too. So come join us as we learn to RV full-time, explore America, and share in our exciting journey of discovery. Our next adventure is just over the hills.
At our very first rest area. Can't believe we've been on the road for 3 months already, and this is the first rest area that we've ever stopped at. So this one, they built a separate restroom building for the truck drivers over here, and then there's the regular rest area over off to the left-hand side of us. And Ed said that he figured that this one probably would be a pretty crappy building, but I went in there just to see. And yes, he was right. I'm sure the other building is fancier and nicer. So, oh well, I'll know better next time. So we are in Kentucky. We're going from Lexington, Kentucky to Dayton, Ohio. Just wanted to stop here and grab something to eat real quick. So we made some sandwiches. And we're getting ready to get back on the road again. I'm getting ready to go through downtown Cincinnati. The highway goes right down through. So there's what the city of Cincinnati looks like. And this is also, we'll be crossing the state line from Kentucky into Ohio.
Welcome to Ohio.
So today we decided to take a look at Fort Ancient, and this is an old Indian site. They call it the Hopewell Indians, and it's kind of like a whole community that they built, and it's surrounded by these mounds that they built with dirt. So hopefully you can see these mounds. We've got pictures that are kind of like a map of what the whole community looked like. They've done a lot of archaeological digs on this area. So we'll show you those pictures of the map. It's really pretty interesting. We didn't know what we were going to walk into. But this is pretty cool. And this is a stone circle here. You can see some more mounds over there. And the mounds pretty much made like a perimeter wall around the entire community. Ed's down there taking pictures of them. And here's another stone circle. It's a big one. And this is called the Great Gateway. And again, I guess it was used to funnel the traffic from the north part of the village to the south part of the village. It looks like most of the living was done in the south part of the village. Maybe they had their crops in the northern part or something like that. But so they've got this path coming down through the center with mounds, high mounds on the side of it, to guide people in a certain direction. So this is on both sides, mounds on both sides. Pretty interesting. And now we're going to go into the living part. It says there isn't anything visible anymore, but we're just going to walk around. In general, it's welcome to walk the grounds here, even though it's labeled as a nature preserve. So that's pretty cool. We're walking him and taking a look at everything. I wish this sign didn't have bird poop all over it so you could see it better. Here's kind of a drawing. It says the Great Gateway, an elevated passage bordered by 2 exceptionally large mounds, joins the middle fort to the south fort. This gateway, apparently constructed before the larger north fort, was the primary entrance to the south fort. Immediately south of the Great Gateway stands a small earthen mound connected by a stone pavement to a nearby ditch. This pavement not only permitted access to the ditch, but also extended 150 feet into the interior of the south fort. Here's a pretty good map of the fort that we're exploring today. You can see the northern section, the southern section, the middle section with the Great Gateway. You can see kind of like where all the earthen walls are around the perimeter. Now this community is a leveled terrace high above the ground that surrounds it. You can see the river on the one side. It's just an amazing thing. So it's all level, it's got these walls, and then it drops off at the sides. And you can see, you know, an area where there was a cleared field where they would have grown their crops. That's where the museum is right now. It's just an amazing thing. This sign says, "You are standing inside an earthworks built by prehistoric Hopewell Indians nearly 2,000 years ago. Early settlers in this area thought these walls were constructed as a fort. Today, archaeologists believe that this site was used primarily as a religious and social center." So we're at what's called the North Outlook, and it's actually in the southern part of the fort. And this gives you an idea of what kind of drop-off is on the edge of the fort. I mean, after you get past those mounds, it just goes right down. There is a river down there, the Little Miami River. We're at the Pioneer Village, and this is part of the Cedar Creek State Park system. There's a collection of old houses here. 2 of them are original to this property, a house and a barn, and the rest of them have been brought in from neighboring properties and reassembled on this lot. So I'm going to take this tour, show you what they got here. The Pioneer Village is not open all the time. They're only open, you can only get inside the houses when they're having a special event, and that is not today or any time while we're here in the Dayton area. So we're just going to look at the outside of the houses. They have signs on them, looks like most of them, that say what they were used for. So just going to take a look. So this is the toll house, and it's got some structural issues here. Kind of looks like it's fallen in on this one wall. It says, "This gatehouse for the village was historically a toll house for the Waynesville-Williamton Pike at the Macy-Wayne Township line. Later it was moved across Route 73 and used after about 1900 as a farm granary." Here's a nice little house. It's a nice little 2-story house. Look at that chimney. That chimney is massive. Here's the back side of the house. And I can see on the sign for this is the Lukens house that was built in 1807, and this is original to this property. And this is the remains of what used to be a smokehouse. It looks like they're trying to put it back together. And this is the Elam house, built in 1802. Can you see the hay that they stuffed in between the logs to insulate it? Got some hay sticking out there. Back side of the Elam house. Not quite sure why it's got a barn door on the one end. This is pretty interesting. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this before. This is a duplex. You can see the door that goes to the unit on the left-hand side. There's also a door that goes to the right-hand side, and a common balcony in the center with a chimney in the center. That's pretty awesome. Never seen anything like that. So they call this a saddlebag house. 2 sections beside a common chimney with a fireplace for each section. And here's the back side of that building. This looks like it might have been a chicken coop. This looks like it's probably the spring house. There does seem to be a little bit of a ditch running through the front of it there. And here's just a little tiny cabin. Looks like it was built by the sign. It says maybe around 1820. Got some herbs and vegetables growing in the garden here. And here's another duplex house, except this one has 2 floors on one side and 1 floor on the other. That's pretty cool. So they have 2 of those on this property. I've never seen one before in my life. Nice. There's the front half of the Saddlebag duplex. It was built by a Mr. Hawkins in 1825. It's for the village blacksmith. And looking in the window here, it does have a bunch of blacksmith tools in there. And this house was built by Mr. Furnass, F-U-R-N-A-S. They think around 1828. It's pretty fancy. Look at that front porch. And this house was built by a Mr. David Collett around 1814. Another really fancy front porch. Okay, this is the Little Red Schoolhouse. Okay, this is really hard to see because of all the trees. But this is a Friends meeting house. And this was built in 1849. So it's actually one of the newest buildings on the property here. Today we are at the Carriage Hill Metro Park. Here, just inside the gate, we have the blacksmith shop. His fire's still sizzling a little bit, so he must be around here someplace. This is like a woodworking area. Got some horses out here in the pasture. These are big horses. That one right there, his back is probably about as tall as my head. So I'm gonna have to guess that these are draft horses to pull the farming equipment. Here's the barn area. Pretty big barn. They even have a windmill on the property. Gonna have to go over there and see what this windmill is used for. It's looking like it might be possible that the windmill is running the well pump, because the windmill is in the building just to the right of where I am, and you can see that pipe coming through the wall there. So that might be what that's for. Here's the hen house. Can you see the hens in there? The store's locked. I guess they don't want them out roaming around. Oh, pretty sounds. Yeah. Pretty sounds. Looks like an animal barn. Gonna walk around down to the other side here, see if there's actually any animals in here. Lots of stalls. Feed troughs. Oh, this is pretty cool. Harnesses for the horses. Oh, there's a little sheep in here. Not by itself. I think they're out looking for this one's partner. There was a gentleman that stopped me just as I was coming through the gate and asked me if I saw a sheep. Got some pigs here laying in the shade. They're snoozing while it's really hot. These guys are big. If I laid down next to these guys, they're probably about as long as I am tall. Here's a small sled to be pulled by the horses in the wintertime. Got some barrels sitting down here. What looks to be what they might be using as their root cellar. It does feel a little colder in this area. I'm standing at ground level and filming down about 4 feet down to the floor there, so it is a little bit cooler right there. And here's their kitchen building. There's a fireplace. Okay, it doesn't look like anybody's inside the house, so it's all locked up. Trying to get some views in the window here so you can see. Oh, this looks to be another kitchen area. On our way to Dayton to tour the Air Force Museum, we went through the very small town of Yellow Springs, and wow, what an awesome town this was. It's very colorful, very artsy, but they got a lot going on, and those streets were busy for such a small town. We had lunch at the Calypso Grill. This made us kind of nervous since we'd never had Caribbean food before, but we were very anxious to try it. And I had the chicken papaliki, which is specially seasoned crispy fried breast tenders. And it was served with fried plantains and island coleslaw and chimichurri aioli. Awesome meal. Ed had the jerk chicken thighs, and there was a choice of mild or spicy sauce with that. I think he got the spicy, actually. And on the side, he had yucca fries, which we asked the lady, the waitress, what that was all about. And yucca fries actually are very similar to potatoes. So you can dig up the roots of the yucca and slice them up like potatoes and make them into French fries. And I think they only had just a basic seasoned salt on these, and they were very good. They tasted exactly like French fries. I was so surprised. While Ed was touring the Air Force Museum, I took General to one of the other free Dayton parks. All of the city parks are free to get into, which is amazing because we drove through one of them that had like a boat launch and a little lake and stuff like that. So pretty awesome parks. This was the one that I picked to take him to, and it had this little pond with bridges and paths and very pretty area. Today we're wandering around the town of Waynesville, Ohio. This is on the list of top towns and top small towns in the state of Ohio that are on the National Register. So got a lot of historic buildings here. Let's see what we can find.
Yes, this is our crazy dog. He's happy. What can I say?